Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and this is episode 1002. I know, right? So, episode 1000 was myself, Glenn Hallstrom, with Mark Hunt, and last night, episode 101 was my wife Rachel and I doing Gamers Health. But this is the 1002nd, or episode 1000 plus 2 of the Tavern Chat Podcast. And I never thought this podcast would be around nearly 3 years, I guess, after kicking it off. 3-year anniversary is coming up in a couple of months, but 1,000 episodes. Now, I've had help. Okay. And so this is going to be a little bit of thank yous across the board. And I'm sure I'm going to forget people, but huge thank you to Vince Florio for getting me into podcasting in the first place. If it wasn't for Vince, this probably never would have happened. Glenn Hallstrom for being one of my co-hosts on the live streams on Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse, and having worked with me as a co-host on prior projects. Glenn, I can't thank you enough. Jane Spahn, another co-host with me in the past, and basically a brother of mine. Then we had Laramie who filled in for Rach and I one night. Laramie is spot on amazing. Okay. Chris Donkill, who does the Sunday posts now at the tavern, who was filled in for me when I was hospitalized the day without posting, the day that I totally missed and overlooked. I had such exciting things on my plate. That was my fault. That was not Chris's. Chris is doing an amazing job on Sundays, and that's his regular spot. He's earned it. It's his. Wow. I mean, there are just so many listeners, callers to the show, and I'm not going to list them all. I hate to do the you know who you are, but yeah, you know who you are. Because I'm going to miss people, and I'm going to overlook people in this, and I don't want to do that. So, 1,002 episodes, and that's because of listeners like you. You listen to this podcast. You like to hear me pick my own brain. You enjoy seeing me virtually sit down at fireside chats with various guests from within the industry. You enjoy myself and Bad Mike, right? Sitting down and every Wednesday talking crit. God bless Mike. He had a great idea when he said we really should do a weekly podcast, which became a weekly live stream. Simply brilliant. Also, Joe the Lawyer, right? My other live stream partner. And of course, my wife, Rach. So again, I'm going to go through this list and I'm going to dismiss people. So I'm going to just make a blanket statement. Thank you. Thank you all. So now we have 1,000+ episodes done, right? 1,000+ episodes. If you drop into the podcast now, you don't have to go back and listen to 1,000 episodes. You don't. I'm sure some of the early ones might be shite. I know some of the early ones are definitely shite. But I need to go back and listen to the ones that I did when I was sick a year ago. Just to listen to where I was mentally and emotionally, because I'm sure it comes through in a podcast, because this is unscripted, folks. I don't sit down at my desk, at my keyboard, and type out, here's a bunch of bullet points of things I want to go over. If I open up a web page to refer to during the podcast, that's a lot. Or if I'm doing the player's handbook stuff or the DMG stuff, yeah, I got stuff in front of me. But The idea is that when you listen to this podcast, you should be somewhere in the mindset of, all right, so if I was sitting with Tenkar at the bar at Game Hole or GaryCon or North Texas or sitting to the side at ShireCon or at the bar in TotalCon or any of these places, or hanging out with me in Manhattan or where I am in Queens, this is the conversation that you'd have, right? Maybe some other stuff, but it should be natural. It should feel unscripted because it is unscripted, okay? And if it feels impulsive and occasionally hex crawly, it's because maybe I'll find a topic. Maybe I'll find a point of interest, but it's the path that gets us there. That's the fun, right? I still remember going to Game Hole, my first Game Hole after starting this podcast. So that would mean Game Hole 2018. And I was online getting my breakfast at the hotel. And I was talking with Rach, and I hear, "Hey, that's Tenkar. Tenkar." And I was like, "What?" And it was a listener to the podcast. He recognized my voice. Didn't know me from the blog. That's fine. He knew me from the podcast. And it was eye-opening to me because I have an idea how many listeners there are to this podcast. And it's substantial for one person yapping. I gotta say, I am humbled by the listenership to this podcast. What I could use from you all is a few more voicemails. I mean, I know there were some voicemails early in February that I probably never got to because listen, those fireside chats were huge, and the reception they were the offer received so well for the Zine Quest that I must have done close to 24 live streams in February. But if you have things that you want me to talk about, not just commenting on what I have talked about, if you have OSR topic, that you'd like me to cover, leave a voicemail. You can, if you're listening via the Anchor app, that's easy enough, right? You just click on the Anchor thing, and Anchor limits you to 59 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever the fuck it is. But I do have a Google number, and that means that you can leave a 2-minute, maybe they increased it, but it's at least a 2-minute voicemail. That number is 347-509-5168. 347-509-5168. And seriously, I listen to everything. I appreciate every message that you all leave. And I play back. As long as you don't tell me, don't play it back. If you tell me don't air it, then it doesn't get aired. But I air like 99% of what comes through. So please feel free to call. Folks, we are still in the midst of the world of the pandemic. I am loath to give advice. I am not a medical professional. My cardiologist did say that about a week and a half after your first shot, you are effectively immunized against serious illness and hospitalization. Doesn't mean that you can't get sick, but if you do come down with COVID, it's from after that first shot, and therefore the brunt of it will be blunted. If you have the opportunity to get the shot, you should think about it. Not saying you have to do it. Use your common sense. I got my first shot. I got my second shot a week from Tuesday. But the opportunity presents itself to you. If you fall into one of those risk categories, because most states are still doing those risk categories before opening up to the general public, Give it some serious thought. I want to meet folks at conventions this year. I plan on going to North Texas. Game Hall. Game Hall plans on being in person. ShireCon. So I'm hoping to get to 3 cons in person this year. And I'd like to see as many listeners, talk to as many listeners as I can. So, if you're going to go to cons, those are 3 that I should be at this year, and I look forward to talking with you, seeing you. Folks, as always, be safe, be well. God bless. God bless each and every one of you. May He keep you and your loved ones healthy and safe. Roll your dice well. Knocking on wood. I'll be back tomorrow. Back to the normal swing of things. What will the next 1,000 episodes hold? I don't know, but I'm quite sure, it's going to be more classic talk of the 1E rule books. It's going to talk about some of the newer retroclone material. It's going to cover current events within our corner of the hobby. And I'm sure whatever fiasco Wizards of the Coast gets into, because they're bound to, right? All right, folks. On that note, I wish you adieu, and I will talk with you all manana. Laters.